about moving to Dubai, Spain, Portugal, Thailand, or Mexico. But Panama is the country that quietly keeps showing up in expat conversations. Not because it has the flashiest lifestyle online, not because it is the cheapest place on earth, and not because everyone is suddenly dreaming about Panama City skyscrapers. Panama is interesting for a different reason. It might be one of the most practical places to build a life abroad. You've got a dollar-based economy, warm weather, beaches, mountains, a major capital city, established expat communities, retiree-friendly options, and a location that connects North and South America. But here's the real question. Is Panama actually a smart move, or is it only good if you're retired, wealthy, or already part of the expat bubble? Let's break it down. Panama is not trying to be Dubai. It is not selling you extreme luxury, supercars, and rooftop brunches. And it is not Spain, where the lifestyle dream is food, beaches, and old cities. Panama's appeal is more practical. It gives you a mix of city life, beach towns, mountain towns, lower cost areas, international banking, a strong expat network, and a familiar currency setup. Panama officially uses the Balboa, but US dollars are used for paper money, and the Balboa and US dollar have the same value. For a lot of people, especially Americans, that removes one layer of currency confusion. But that does not mean Panama is simple, because your experience depends massively on where you live. Panama City, Boquete, Coronado, David, Pedesi, Bocas del Toro, and smaller towns can all feel like completely different countries. So the question is not just, could you live in Panama? The better question is, which Panama could you actually live in? Panama can be cheaper than places like London, New York, Miami, or parts of Western Europe, but it is not automatically dirt cheap. That is the mistake people make. If you want a modern apartment in Panama City, good healthcare nearby, restaurants, air conditioning, imported goods, taxis, and a comfortable lifestyle, you can spend much more than you expected. International Living gives examples of Panama City apartments in upscale central areas starting around $900 to $1,500 for larger furnished apartments, while also noting that smaller towns and lesser-known areas can be much cheaper, so Panama can be affordable, but only if you choose the version of Panama that matches your budget. If you move expecting beach life, city comfort, low rent, perfect infrastructure, cheap groceries, English everywhere, and zero compromises, that version may not exist. Panama rewards realistic people, not fantasy movers. Panama City is the obvious choice if you want the most infrastructure, restaurants, hospitals, shopping, nightlife, business, and international energy. It feels more developed than many people expect. You get skyscrapers, malls, modern apartments, the metro, Uber, good restaurants, and a proper city lifestyle. But Panama City is also hotter, busier, more expensive, and less peaceful than the retirement dream people imagine. Boquete is different. Boquete is in the highlands, so it has a cooler climate, greenery, hiking, coffee farms, mountain views, and one of the strongest expat communities in the country. Some relocation sources describe it as having book clubs, hiking groups, volunteer opportunities, restaurants, cafes, bars, markets, and live music. But Boquete also has a catch. Because it is so popular with foreigners, it can be more expensive than other parts of Panama. Some people also feel it has become too much of an expat bubble, where foreigners mostly socialize with each other instead of fully integrating. Then you have beach areas like Coronado, Pedesi, and Bocas del Toro. Coronado is popular because it gives you beach town living with access to Panama City. Bocas del Toro is more Caribbean, colorful, relaxed, and island-focused. Pedesi is quieter and more local, so Panama is not one lifestyle. It is a menu, and choosing wrong is how people end up disappointed. This is one of the most important parts people ignore. Panama can be social, but your social life will depend heavily on where you move and what type of person you are. In Panama City, social life is more urban. Restaurants, rooftop bars, gyms, co-working spaces, events, dating, business networking, nightlife, and international communities. It is probably better if you are younger, still working, dating, building a business, or you want a proper city around you. In Boquete, the social life is more community-based. Think hiking, coffee mornings, local events, charity groups, live music, book clubs, markets, and expat meetups. That can be brilliant if you want connection quickly, but it may not suit you if you want a younger dating scene, big nightlife, or a more local Spanish-speaking social circle. The honest point is this: Panama can make it easy to meet other expats, but it does not automatically mean you will integrate into Panamanian life. If you only stay in English-speaking circles, you might feel comfortable, but also slightly separate from the real country. So if you move to Panama, learn Spanish. not because you cannot survive without it in some expat areas, but because your life gets much deeper when you stop living only inside the foreigner bubble. This is where Panama becomes seriously interesting. Panama has long been popular with retirees because of the pensionado route. The Panamanian embassy says applicants need at least $1,000 per month in pension income plus $250 per dependent. That is one reason Panama keeps appearing in retirement conversations. For remote workers, Panama also has routes that are often discussed by immigration firms, with common requirements listed around foreign source income, remote work proof, health insurance, and a clean criminal record. One immigration firm summary lists a $3,000 per month income requirement for Panama's digital nomad style route. But do not treat YouTube videos as immigration advice. Rules change, requirements change, and your nationality, income, work situation, criminal record, documents, and tax status all matter. The tax side is also a big reason Panama gets attention. PwC says Panama uses a territorial concept of income, where citizens and residents are taxed on income earned from Panamanian sources. That can be attractive for some people with foreign income, but again, this is exactly where you need proper tax advice. Panama may be tax-friendly for some people. That does not mean it is automatically tax-free for everyone. Healthcare is one reason Panama appeals to retirees and long-term expats. Panama City has more advanced private healthcare options, while smaller towns may be fine for routine care but weaker for serious emergencies. For example, expat relocation sources say Boquete has local clinics for basic care, but emergency or major hospital treatment usually means going to David, around 45 minutes away. So if healthcare matters to you, location is not just lifestyle. It is practical. Safety is also mixed. Panama can feel comfortable in many expat areas, but it is not crime-free. UK travel advice warns travelers to take precautions against mugging in parts of Panama City, avoid poorly lit areas at night, and be aware that violent incidents and gang-related crime can happen, even if much of that crime is targeted between rival groups. So Panama is not a place to panic about, but it is also not a place to switch your brain off. Pick your area carefully, use common sense, and do not confuse expat comfort with complete safety. Panama's biggest downside is that the dream can be oversold. Some people online make it sound like you can move there, live like a king, pay almost nothing, make friends instantly, and never deal with problems. That is not real life. Imported goods can be expensive, the heat and humidity can be rough, infrastructure can be inconsistent outside the best areas. Some expat towns can feel too foreigner heavy, smaller places can feel sleepy, and if you do not speak Spanish, you may feel limited once you leave the expat bubble. Panama is not a magic reset button. It is a country with real advantages and real trade-offs. Panama could be a very smart move if you want a practical base abroad. It makes sense for retirees with stable income, remote workers who want a Central American base, people who like warm weather, people who want a mix of city and nature, and people who value community more than flash. It could also work if you want something less obvious than Spain, less expensive than Dubai, and more structured than simply drifting around tourist destinations. But Panama may not be for you if you need big city excitement every day, hate humidity, need everything to be ultra-polished, want high local salaries, dislike slower systems, or expect the whole country to operate in English. Panama is not the loudest option, but for the right person, that might be exactly the point. So, is Panama quietly winning the expat game? Maybe, but not because it is perfect. Panama wins because it is practical. It offers city life, beaches, mountains, expat communities, retiree-friendly options, a dollar-based economy, and lifestyle variety in a way that many countries do not. But Panama is not one dream lifestyle. It is several different lifestyles in one country. Panama City gives you convenience. Boquete gives you community and cooler weather. Coronado gives you beach access. Smaller towns give you lower costs, but fewer comforts. So my verdict is this. Panama might be one of the smartest moves nobody talks about, but only if you choose the right version of Panama for your actual life, not your fantasy life.